Right, we're back to Enford in Wiltshire, and Paul Whitewick's come to join me. So why are you here, Paul?
I've no idea, Tom.
We're on a perfectly straight bit of road, so that should make us think Roman. It is called, almost definitely in the Charter of Enford, called an on long strat, go along the strat. Strat means strata, it's Latin for road, which comes into English.
But how do we know this particular bit of by road is our potential Roman road? The reason why it should be is that this is on the current parish boundary, and our civil parishes today are the descendants of anglo-saxon estates generally. They have changed a bit, but let's use that as a basis for interpretation. Secondly, the charter says, on long strat on forward, which means we're near to a ford, we're near to the river, and as you can see, this road is right next to the river. It then goes on, the charter says, on long stremes, which means go along the stream. And as you can see, the current parish boundary goes along the stream.
It's perfectly straight, it has a hedge. Can we date the hedge? Will that help us? No, it won't, but we can have a go anyway. Is there an agger? No, there won't be, but we're going to have a look anyway. I haven't looked yet, so we're going to do some citizen science.
I'm fascinated by it really because number one, we know it has something to do with Roman long strata, and we know the Romans classified their roads in three different ways: a via, which is the main one we know about, the actus, which I think is the beast of burden, so for all that sort of traffic, and the iter, which is foot traffic. So they classified their Roman roads in three different ways. Now I only really know about the main vias. So is this evidence of a B road, of an actus or an iter? And it has to be, but
yeah. So I haven't previously had a look. So this is live on YouTube. But, so is that a bank or is it just been raised up now? Yeah, it's been dug up. The road's been dug out. It's been dug up, hasn't it? So at the moment, it looks like the road's been dug out and chucked to make banks on the side. So at the moment, no agger.
Tom, I think this could be promising. We don't know what we're looking for. We don't know what a B road looked like, but look at the tree line.
Yeah.
Look at the tree line, how it slopes off in the trees and maybe 2 foot down. I'm not saying we definitely should be looking for an agger, but this looks good, right?
Yeah, yeah. I call that the voyeur shop, hiding from behind the bushes.
Yeah. So what are we looking at?
So I don't know, what are we looking at? We're looking at a ditch.
We're looking at a ditch.
And it's a magnificent ditch.
Mm.
It goes up there. So if you're building an ordinary state road, would you bother? Was the question. So we're not at the bottom of the hill, so
So you're thinking ditch, not holloway as a description?
I don't know. I'm thinking the vallum of a agger.
I feel like it's too much. Maybe that would imply that was repaired a lot.
Yeah.
I feel.
Yeah.
And just layered on, because it's very substantial. But then why have we got this?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So yeah, it could just as be. So are you thinking it's a holloway?
My instinct said this is a holloway.
Is
because
it? Okay.
Again, I'm not. Don't think this is gospel at all.
Yeah.
I just feel if that is a bank, if this here is the Roman road, the agger of the Roman road, it's too much. Well, it's not too much. It just means it's important. And it's been built up and up and up. Look at some of the Foss Way. Look at some of the I don't know, whatever. They're huge aggers, and all that says that that's 300 years of layer, repair it, layer, and they look like this huge, bank when they're not. They're just a repaired road, and that says if that's what that is.
Is Shruton important? as a place. Was it important in the early medieval period? Was there anything? Do we know? That'd be worth having a look at. Whether
Are you thinking that in time?
maybe this might be a bit more than a B road. It's a connecting road to another settlement. But it's
Yep.
So what we're going to do is try and date this hedge. Paul's going to give me a hand by marking out 30 yards, and then we'll see what we've got. Now remember, it's a rule of thumb. There's a load of scepticism out on the internet, very, very naughty internet. It's obviously we're not going to prove it's Roman. I would like to prove it's. Actually, I don't know what I would like to prove, but I want to find out. So let's do it. So underneath all that ivy is a hawthorn, your classic hedging plant. Underneath that ivy is a dying elder.
Right.
So that's two. So we have two. And this is either a beech. I think it's a beech.
I'll go with the beach, yeah.
There's this hornbeam which I can't ever. I'm terrible at identifying hornbeam. I think it's quite similar. But anyway, that's three species anyway, regardless. So there's only three species, so that's 360 years. It probably isn't even that much. It's sort of a bell curve. People think the Hooper equation should actually provide. So the dates at the near end tend to be less, and at the longer end tend to be more, I think, than would come out with the equation. But there's another explanation for why we get straight roads in England. Throughout the medieval period into the modern period, nobody built straight roads because private property was built into English law. So you couldn't just drive a lane through somebody's property. And even worse than that, landowners developed more and more power, so they were moving roads out away from the front of their house and going around. So you find these like down at Shroton. There's this massive square you have to drive around on what is a straight road, and that's to go around somebody's estate. So what that second explanation could be is enclosures. You get the Enclosure Acts reorganise the countryside and rationalise things in such a way they were more convenient than they were before. Now, of course, not convenient to those who no longer had rights to graze their geese on the common, but convenient to the economy. So you have the commissioners say, yes, we need that wobbly road over there, we're going to make it straight. Put up all your hedges to show that nobody's allowed to graze their geese on your land anymore. So that might explain. That's the second theory about this road. This could be an enclosure hedge. This could be an enclosure road. There you are, my sweetness. So Paul, we can't complete this, can we?
No, that to me is a real frustration. But I guess you must come across this a lot because this is what you do. You look at Anglo-Saxon charters a lot, and you can't solve them because the landscape is very different. But part of me says I really need to complete. I really need to know what we're looking at, where it is. But I don't know. I feel like maybe you're more used to it because you do this all the time. Am I right? Or
I'm sanguine about it, and I'm going to be talking about sanguine in a minute. The reason for that is that I'm happy with whatever it gives me, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes it gives me stuff that doesn't meet my expectations, but then nonetheless, we're developing an agglomeration of story.
yes.
So I'm happy if this is all wrong, because I can map the wrongness.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely fine to me. But
and the word you used
Sanguine.
And what does that mean?
That means I'm relaxed and happy about it. And the reason do you want me to? Yeah.
Yeah.
The reason what it is right from Greek times there was a set of principles called the Four Humours, which is a way of diagnosing people with psychological problems. And would you believe being happy is one of them?
Okay.
You also had melancholic. That survived into English. We still use melancholic.
Which is sort of a madness in itself, kind of melancholy.
It's got more dignity than that. A melancholy person doesn't have to be mad, but certainly might need to be helped.
Yes.
Because they're very, very sad. But there's also phlegmatic, and these are people. There's negative and positive. You could be. It describe. Some of the medieval documents describe phlegmatic as being the animal of being phlegmatic is the ass.
Right.
He's slow and complaining and thinks not very quickly and all this sort of stuff. And the last one is choleric, and they have positive and negative. Good leaders, decisive, and they bark orders at you all day long and go very pink. Gammon, basically.
Right.
So these. It's just with some of the conversations I've been having recently it just made me realise that I use old-fashioned language. It's still in the English, like sanguine, like melancholic.
Yeah.
And
but I've noticed you do that with your actual language sometimes as well. You slip into a little bit of Old English without noticing.
Well, with the H's, and sometimes with place name.
With place name, you just slip into it. And I've noticed you did it by accident once because Columborn,
Collingerburn,
Columborn, and you just slipped straight.
I couldn't remember what the modern English word for it, but I know the ancient.
Exactly.
But classicists do this as well. They go to Constantinople, or Byzantine, even worse.
Yeah.
But there's a whole load of medieval manuscripts about. It's just like learning these older forms of the language.
Yeah. Well, I'm not fitting into the happy bracket about this.
Oh,
you may well be completely there, Tom, but I'm like, I don't know what the
You're
right
not
word
phlegmatic.
is. I'm not phlegmatic.
And you're not sanguine.
I must be melancholy.
Are you getting explosive with rage and want to reorganise everything so it works? In which
I
case
want to reorganise.
So you're choleric.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So it's but none of us fit into one category.
No, fine. Yeah. Okay.
But what's interesting is that the Wikipedia doesn't call it a pseudoscience; it calls it a proto-psychology, which is an interesting.
Yep.
So it's an early form,
Brilliant.
of classifying people and behaviours.
Yeah.
And it's quite insightful. I haven't got a massive amount. I mean, I still use melancholic. When people say, "Oh, I'm depressed," I think they're letting themselves down by saying that.
Yeah. Okay.
But if you said to me, "I'm a tad melancholic," I'd go, "Yeah, well, yeah,
Let it be.
I think you are."
But then I feel
No offence.
I feel like I should be like you in just accepting what is, but I still want to put it in a box.
Yes.
I still want to go, right, this is. We have to work this out somehow. I still want to. I want to map it. I want to go, right, where are the other stresses, Tom? I want to map all these and put them down and solve it, if that makes sense.
Me too. But I'm just actually this is a phlegmatic part of my personality, accepting two different sides.
Yeah.
I want to collect all of that data, and if it comes up with an answer that offends me, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
It is the truth.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
and don't get me wrong, I will move on. I won't be here in a year's time. Tom. So right in front of him could be that line of that earthwork.
the cardiac clare that hat tremens quaking cometh of cold cause, sometimes of melancholic, sometimes of phlegmatic.
face of it, it looks like it's a lot older.
It's a what?
On the face of it, it looks like it's a lot older. Like you just look down
Yeah.
there, and you think, oh,
Yeah,
I guess that's the colours.
yeah. I think it's Holloway. Yeah, but it's and the hedge is nice, but yeah, there's only a few different species. But these crab apples.
Yeah.
So we've got one last thing to do, which is we're going to go past Long Street, and I doubt if we will learn very much. Yeah, thank you for coming, Paul.
A pleasure, as always, a pleasure.
I hope perhaps with a little bit more research later on, a bit more deep diving into the LiDAR, we might learn something.
Yeah.
But we've added a few more data points, I think. I think it's probably not a Roman road, but it was worth having a look at. Yeah, so thank you for coming.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me.